I did talk about how we're role-based, and so you'll see, oops, sorry about that. We have roles for your staff accountants, whether like their tax and CAS or assurance. We have roles for your managers, your partners. Task flow admin is typically where firm administrators or power admins spend a lot of their time. Billing and AR is kind of what it says. That's where we typically do billing and accounting or AR related activities. And then CFO controller would be for your internal books where you're doing your Dynamics GP work today. So the other thing I would say about these roles is there is more granularity than I'm showing here. And you can take a role and you can add and subtract from it, right? So you can make copies of this, and it's very much, well, I always kind of explain PracticeERP is like clay, like you can make it your own, but you're not starting out from scratch either. Yeah, and like I said, please jump in with questions. I will keep this pretty high level. Normally we have lots of deeper dives where we meet with the assurance team and the CAS team and the tax team or the finance team or the billing team. But jump in with any questions. All right, so I'm in this billing and AR. This box here is called Global Search. What's coming in basically March and April is that Ask Oracle, which will be in the bottom right-hand corner, which is, like I said, the AI. But today, think of this as like Google for your practice management system. I could type in John, for instance, or I could put an email or a phone number in here. I could type in like EMP and bring up my employee for Bill. In this case, I'm going to put CL, and I could put the client number, the client group, or the client name, and here I get all of my urban pause. If I click here, I can edit the client, and if I click here, what you're going to see here is a client dashboard. So we kind of call it the 360-degree view of your client. Anything that you would want to know about your client is going to be right here. We kind of have AR, all accounts receivable, kind of at the top. It does become an area of focus for firms. So you can see overdue balance, when the last time they made a payment or amount. Maybe someone's doing some sort of collections activity. You can see that here, and you can easily come here and add a new note or send an email or a to-do. We can see how AR is tracking for this client monthly or maybe quarterly. So we can see AR is not tracking very well for this client. On the left-hand side, all sorts of attribution. So we have client grading. So one of the things that I kind of call about our client grading reports is like you can see, last rolling 12 months of billings, realization, gross profit for some users, average days to pay, average AR, number of lines of business that they use, all sorts of different metrics to help determine a grade. We do feel like right now that's a report that kind of gets exported, and then an end user or decision makers can put a grade. We definitely feel like you're going to be able to leverage AI to just auto grade it. So that's coming very soon. We have the ability to group clients, right? You have individuals that own multiple entities. We actually take it a step further. We have a concept called build to and work to clients. So you can have all of the WIP for various work to clients be easily billed to one build to client and move WIP around, so on and so forth. That was a feature that was pretty prominent in Thomson Reuters. And then, who's the primary partner, who's responsible for assurance, who does the CAS, what industry or niche is this client in, what office is this client associated to, subsidiary, this on hold and disallow work. When these are checked, we can prevent time, we can prevent projects for this client. Emails, phones, tax information is down here. Here's the contacts and their contact information within the client. We've got 10 overdue projects, 44K in WIP that hasn't been billed. Of that 44K, I can just click this link and start the invoicing process. Here I can see any invoice or payment history. I could, print or click open the invoice and re-email the invoice from here and see the realization at the invoice level. Here is the detail within the invoice. So, okay, for that tax return last year, what did we write it up? What did we charge for that tax return? So you have easy visibility to that. And then all of our workflow is 100% built within. It's just part of PracticeERP. So you can see open or closed projects. You can see the status of these projects. You can drill into the projects right from here as well by client. And then, where's this client using us? So 40% in assurance, 30% in advisory, and just a little bit in CAS, right? So maybe there's an opportunity for some upsell there. And then year over year, we see this client tends to trend down in sales, but up in AR, two very, bad trends. Any questions on our client record or the dashboard? Okay. So I'm going to flip over and go to the actual form view. So this is where, I would edit the client. It is all that same information I just showed you. A couple of things I do like to call out here when I bring up the billing tab. So around billing, we do have a concept called billing agreements. So think of like your CAS department where you may be doing some value-based billing. We can automate like, quarterly billings of $500 a month or monthly billings of $1,000 a month. And this automatically creates the bill, can automatically send it out. And then like quick fee would it even go grab the dollars automatically. So you can get to kind of a $0 AR concept as well. The other thing we have is kind of think about when that invoice is getting created before someone even reviews it. By client, by kind of line of business, you can determine how much detail shows up on that invoice. So like if we're doing advisory or consulting work, I want it ungrouped. That thing could be like an attorney bill, right? It could be 2 or 3 pages. Where if I'm doing some CAS work, I want prepare and review and assemble, maybe just 3 lines. But if I'm doing tax work, I just want tax return, period end, and the description, and then that's it. So we can auto collapse and group based upon the lines of business. Any questions here? All right. So hopefully you get a sense, like we go very deep in a lot of different areas around practice management. This is another kind of just overall systems thing. Anywhere in practice, you're going to know the date, the person, the field, the old value, and the new value. So everything is fully tracked, including deletes and that kind of stuff. And then the document management piece I explained at the very beginning. So I'm on the client record. You'll see this Work Euro tab. So again, this is not PracticeERP. This is a third party. But right on the client record, I can see any conversations or threads I have with this client. I can see any documents that are associated to this client. I can come up here and send a task, and the client in a very secure link on an email can click that open, and now they're collaborating right here. They can upload documents. They can answer questions. We can like have engagement letters that get signed, electronically signed. This fully integrates with Office 365, can auto-save emails right from your Outlook as well. It has PDF annotation. It in itself replaces like 4 or 5 different texts as well. If you're interested, we can set up a demo of this. It's about an hour demo alone just to see everything around Work Euro, but it fully integrates with PracticeERP. Any questions on this, at least at a high level? Okay. So I'm going to flip over now to go to task flow admin. And this is like I said, this is where our firm admins typically reside. We have all sorts of oversight tools where, a firm admin or, maybe, it can see overdue projects, show me any tax projects that are stalled on someone's desk for more than 3 days, or CAS projects that are stalled on someone's desk. So all sorts of oversight tools we have. But one thing I kind of want to call out, right? I know you guys are using what used to be XCM. So uh, like I said, we take a very proactive approach to the implementation and delivery. That's Andy and his entire team. Uh, we do very deep discovery, or what we call personalization sessions, or around your firm. What are your big goals? What's your chart of accounts like? Different things. And then our second one is all around um, employees, clients, time, WIP, and billing. Like, do you want to round? Do you want to recognize revenue off of WIP or invoice? Different things like that. And then our kind of do like a 3A and 3B where we talk about workflow. And when we go through these sessions, right, we have a set of questions to make sure we understand which switches to turn on. But the main reason I'm bringing this up is we have all of the standard project types pre-built, ready to go that most firms use around tax, CAS, assurance, and audit. And over the last 5 years, we continue to refine leading practices around these. So I'll just kind of, here's, client account services. I'll just scroll down to kind of the tax returns. So here's, the workflow for a paper return versus like an e-file. So the reason I'm bringing this up, it loads like this. Day one, you can use it like this out of the box, but you can still make it your own. You can add steps, you can do different things, but it's ready to go on day one. Any questions here? If not, I can pop back to PracticeERP. Okay. All right. So I'm just going to hit task flow. You're going to see that like we do a lot of things off of each tab as kind of its own dashboard in itself. So here are those templates. Here's the 1099 templates. Here's some assurance templates for like AUP or some compulations. Here's our audit templates. And by the way, you can take any one of these templates, make a copy of it, and make your own flavors of it for different things. Here's our CAS bookkeeping templates, and then I'll just go down to the tax return templates. Let me open up an 1120, for instance. So this is a template. It's pretty blank, but you can see we've got, workup, goes to document management for scanning, prepare, review, assembly. We even incorporate billing into our workflow, so the billing team can get notified that, hey, this is ready to get the invoice, and then go call the client to come pick up the return. So again, there's lots of ways you can leverage this. Both for kind of billable projects as well as we have some firms that are now leveraging this for like non-billable, like think of employee onboarding or other things as well. Um, uh, the other thing I would call out too is let's say you've been up and running for a couple of weeks and we want a second review step. No problem. Open up the template, add a new task, add your second review step, kind of get this all organized however you want. And then you can sync that down to all open and active projects. So you're never really stuck as well. All right. I won't go into too much detail. Like literally, we could spend a long time going through all of our workflow, but I'll just create an 1120 project for that urban pause. And the one thing I want to call out here is, so I'll put the period end of this last year, and you'll see the due date automatically comes in. So we have auto due date functionality based upon project type and period end. And then we have all sorts of rules to ways to automate the people to the task, whether it's from the client record, whether it's from the general template, whether it's from last year's projects, lots of options to assign people to tasks. And then we also have budgeting at the task level that rolls up to the projects. Same thing. We can pull that down from the general template. We can use last year's actuals. We can use an average of all 1040s, so lots of ways to auto assign budgets as well. If I hit submit, this creates one project for this one client. Obviously, you guys do thousands of projects a year. So we have bulk rollover. We also have auto rollover that we just released here in January. We have recurrence, so think of for your CAS department, quarterly sales tax, monthly bookkeeping, all of that stuff. We can, let's say you make an acquisition and you want to, upload and create projects from an Excel file. We have that. We have a bunch of utility stuff where you can, let's say I promoted someone as a manager. I can go and, find these set of clients and set, Bob equal to George, and it'll just mass update that without someone having to do things. Um, CSV imports. Oh, I would love to just export this into Excel, make some changes, and then re-import it, right? So these are just kind of utility things that admins really love down the road. All right. So I did already create a project. So this is just a usability thing for all users. What was that client I had open this morning or that project I had open earlier today? So this just displays any recent records. So here's an actual project. It's an 1120. You'll see banners that we put across the top. Maybe it's been extended. This client has an overdue balance. Maybe I shouldn't be working on it. And by the way, we have controls in place now that can even prevent work. Um, a couple things that I'd call out about our projects. You'll see priority, high, middle, low. So people can be either assigned or grab work based upon priority. And then difficulty, 1 through 5, right? 1 being easy, 5 being complicated. Some like my newbies should be working on my 1s. My very senior people should be working on 5s. Also in this era of leverage, I'm sure you guys know, is the most important metric around profitability of a firm. And this is an area where, you want to think about like a team, and me as an individual, I want to think about my professional growth and am I growing? So last year, if I worked on 2s, I should probably be working on 3s this year. So just again, these are areas where you can start to leverage kind of best business practices. All right. All sorts of due dates, the original due date, the current due dates, all of that due date stuff we have. It's pretty natural to us. But here's those tasks. We now have our assigned tos. We can set start and due dates. We have our budget hours. And then as people are entering and recording time, we're tracking progress against that. And we're also tracking budget dollars. So you can see both hours and dollars, how this project is tracking. You can imagine, right, some of your assurance projects are very large, and that's where the dollars kind of play a little more. The other thing I'll call out is you'll see this highlighting. So if 50% of the hours are consumed, it's yellow. If 70, it's orange. And if over 100% of the hours are consumed, it's red. So the other thing I would call out too is anything you see kind of micro here, know as a manager, a partner, a supervisor, we have all sorts of views where you can kind of from an over show me all of the tasks that are at 70% by employee or at 100%, or show me anything that's within 2 days of the due date, right? And just serve up that kind of management by exception stuff. And then the last thing I'd call out, again, our workflow is completely embedded with everything we do. So this service item is your billing code today. And why it matters here is we can auto default in the billing description. So for like a review, a 1040 or 1120 review, I don't want to type that anytime. I just want that to default in. But maybe for like consulting or advisory, I want it to be blank and I want to force someone to enter some. So by service item, we can auto default in, or not default in. The other thing is this is what's mapped to your revenue account on your financials. So this allows us to update your financials pretty much real time. Notes. So you guys are used to, I think, what is called points in practice in XEM. So this would be that kind of equivalent functionality. Notes where you can mark stuff permanent, you can carry them forward. We can have type like question or request where like I'm a staff accountant and like, oh, how do I handle this tax issue? The the manager or partner, whoever's asked, right on their My Workspace can see, oh, I got 3 notes to answer. They can click in there, provide their responses, and those responses come right back here for that staff accountant to go finish their stuff. very deep deliverable functionality. You can track your federal return, you can track multiple state returns. We have templates that you can have by state. So if you work primarily in different states, you can have predefined templates. Um, and then we have all sorts of ways where you can work with your deliverables in mass, where you can enter dates and do different things in kind of like an Excel fashion. Again, this is an area where we can do a much deeper dive, but just know we have very deep deliverable functionality. And then that Work Euro tool, that document management, is at the project level. So I can see any documents specific to this project, threads specific to this project, so on and so forth. Any questions on the project? All right. So where I was going to go next is the actual workflow piece. So this currently has this came in last month. It's currently assigned to Bill Jones, who's a partner, to do the workup. So I'm going to flip over to the partner. And so on the partner's My Workspace, this My Active project is his workload. So right here, he can see, oh, yep, I got this in workup. So let's say he met with the client, they filled out the organizer, and he's completed the workup. So he would come in here and he would do update status, and it automatically knows to go to prepare and knows to go to Matthew. We can skip a step, move it back a step. You can have I'm sure you have custom statuses today in XCM where you're like waiting for client to answer questions. So all of that, I go assign this to Andy, for instance, or whatever, but it will always recommend that next thing. So I'll hit submit, and we'll go back to the My Workspace. So you'll see I'm at 8 projects here. I'm just going to hit the little refresh, and you'll see that drops now, and I'm at 7. So that dropped off my queue. And now we're going to flip over and go in as Matthew, who's the staff accountant. And I'll hit refresh here. And here's that's been here for 0 days, and now that's on Matthew's desk. So that's a little bit about the workflow. I know I initially mentioned the My Workspace and how this is where most end users spend 90% of their day. So I'll show you the menu. The goal is never really to work off of the menu, but I can enter and view time. We have expense reporting, so I can enter and view my expense reports. I can see any of my projects that are due today, this week. I can see all projects for whatever reason. I can see my tasks within my projects. One thing I like to kind of call out here is what we see is the CAS and the tax departments very much live at the project level. That project just kind of goes from desk to desk to desk to desk. Where assurance and audit, right, there's many people assigned to many tasks at the same time. So they live at the task level, and we have the My Workspace built out accordingly. So that's how is one of the many ways we can support the various departments. We do have a concept of checklist within tasks, within projects. We can go through that in another day. We have a concept called bulk updates where I can mass move, mass change statuses, different things. But in the end, I'm going to work off of my dashboard. So I can see my overdue projects. Like CCH, do you guys leverage the monthly employee budgets for billable goals, utilization, production targets?
A certain degree. Some people are using it better than others. We've got some offices who do real well with it and some others that haven't. So
okay. So we actually have weekly budgets that are easily set up in Excel, and then they're uploaded. So what that allows me to do as a producer, right? I can see how I did last week, this month to date, this year to date, according to my production, my utilization goals. And oh, by the way, we have oversight to me as a partner or manager or whatever. Show me the people who didn't make it last week or last month. So so this is the My Active projects. This one port letter box is what's used most. So this is my workload. I'm going to come back to this. This is all active projects. And this gets used in a lot of different ways. Like I can filter on maybe an industry or a difficulty level, or stuff that's assigned to me as a manager or a partner. So this gets used in a lot of different ways. In this scenario, I'm returning all the 1040 projects that are assigned to the 1040 pool team. And then what we do is kind of, oldest first. What I would do is I would select the oldest, I would assign it to me. It would drop off of the pool and it would come up to my projects. So that's one way we support multiple, or we support pools as well. All right, so right, you guys are well into busy season now, or opportunity season, how I've heard some managing partners talk about it. Um, uh, and it isn't like 11 projects, right? Most of your team probably have 100 to 200, who knows how many. So what am I going to work on, right? It's Friday morning. What am I going to work on? So I can, at a very macro level, I'm going to do tax returns, or I'm doing bookkeeping work, right? Or I can get very granular and I'm going to do my monthly bookkeeping, or I'm going to, I'm going to work on my, 1120s, right? And that just shortens the list. Or I'm going to work on my highs, then my normals, then my lows. Or in this era of, right, hard to find talent, we're going to take care of our A clients first, then our Bs, then our Cs, and so on and so forth. So lots of ways to filter what I'm going to work on. Then once I'm there, depending on the department and users, they use one of these two columns. So days since is how many days it's been on my desk. I do apologize, my data is a little outdated. But this is how many days it's been on my desk. Or ECD date, that's your estimated completion date. That's your internal due date that you would set. So that's kind of what an end user does. So now, once users are here, this is their routine, right? Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and open this project, and right from here, I'm gonna start my timer. And now I open up the tax software, or any documents, and I'm working away, right? I'm doing all my big brain stuff. I can stop my timer. Maybe I got to run out to lunch, meet a prospect. Okay, I'm back from lunch. I think we may have picked up a new client, and I got to finish this up. So I'm going to resume my timer, and now I'm done, right? So I've packaged it up. I close everything out, and I sent it on. So I hit stop and record, and that's all I need to do to enter time. So when people really kind of lean into my workspace and this flow, time becomes kind of a non-event. We can also put rounding, by the way, up to or closest to 3, 5, whatever it is. For the end users that don't like timers, I can hit the enter time button, and literally everything populates except for the time. I could put, more notes here, and I could also add a note for whoever's doing the billing, right? Only bill 60%, training. So that would be, visible to whoever does the billing, and when you're looking at the WIP. But that's it. That's all we need to do to enter time. Any questions here at all? All right. So the other thing I'd call out is, within Practice, because we're browser based, we can be open in multiple tabs, multiple windows. So what we see a lot is the My Workspace is open in one tab, and then this View Time is open in another tab. And right from here, I can start and stop timers. I can resume timers. I can go and do some edits. We have concepts of like silent timers, or just entering raw time here. But in the end, if this is good, I would hit mark all and say record if I didn't record along the way. And we can put approvals in place, whatever, like you could say, my newbies for the first 30, 60 days, we're going to approve time. After that, we're not. We're going to approve for CAS, but we're not going to approve for tax insurance, right? So you can have all sorts of different rules around approvals. Most firms just auto approve anything. Once we record, we immediately create a WIP record that can immediately be billed. But the other thing that happens is every night, we look through all the open WIP through yesterday and we update your balance sheet and your income statement. So you can run financials through yesterday with any WIP related information. All right. So let's see. I'm going to go
Can I
back.
ask a question real fast?
Yes,
Sorry, I didn't mean to
please.
interrupt you. So,
No.
what about like the non-billable type time? Like, how does that get entered
Yeah.
if I'm a user?
Yep. So what I think I have it set up here. So what you do, most firms set up their firm as a client. And when they do that, I'll show you the drop-down list. You only see non-billable time. So you only see billable time against billable clients and non-billable time against a non-billable client. And we have all sorts of, like we have a 4 payroll report, so we can calculate overtime. We can do all sorts of, and you just export the time from here and you can import it into your payroll system. I didn't even ask what you guys are currently using for payroll HR.
ADP.
ADP. Okay. Yeah. So we can support a direct import or an API into API or into ADP. And then all payroll systems, especially ADP included, have an export of a GL. And then there's an easy import of that back into Practice as well. Those are very standard things that we do. All right. So we've created a WIP transaction. So I'm going to log in into the billing and AR role. And just so you know, we have all sorts of open WIP reports. The other thing I think is very unique to us as well. So, we haven't had any discovery yet. I am super curious to hear how you guys bill. We see everything under the moon as far as billing. One thing that we've encountered is especially users that are coming from CCH or Thomson Reuters, they have a certain billing report that they just absolutely love, and they got to have that thing with these columns set up in this way, which I get, right? It's hard. This is a lot of change management. So we built that functionality so we can recreate, for the most part, any report that someone is used to seeing in CCH in this case. And then maybe over time we can migrate them to some different tools that we have in place. So just know that we can support that. And then naturally we have all sorts of kind of open WIP reports. I will tell you what most of our firms do is we have this WIP export. So I can just return my completed projects, or just, give me the WIP for me, Bill Jones, the partner, through, the end of last month. And I only want the bookkeeping WIP, right? So you can determine what WIP gets exported. The other thing though we have is where the managers go through the WIP first and then the partner approves, right? I have no idea if this is what you guys do. So what we then do is we can put each manager's WIP for that partner on separate tabs. So when I hit submit, within about 30 seconds to a minute, it creates this file. And each manager's WIP for that partner is on their own tab. And then what a decision maker can be, a manager, partner, whoever, they can easily, and this can be printed out if someone wants to write on it. But a decision maker can go through and easily make changes here. They can add this other notes, and they could do stuff kind of in Mac in kind of, so this is gonna be $1,000. This is gonna be $500 or not. Yeah, let's write that'd be good realization. 5,000. This is going to be 7,000. Go ahead and apply that progress. Go create a progress here. So basically, this allows a decision maker to quickly determine what needs to be billed. And then they can go back taking care of their clients. And a lot of our firms have kind of billing admins or teams that then go process this. I will tell you, like YHB, generally their managers and partners do their own billing. And Zach, by the way, if you want to talk to them, I strongly encourage it. Their CFO told us last week or 2 weeks ago, he is now able to close the books in 5 days. So he's got all the billings out and his books closed in 5 days. He feels like after tax season, he's going to be able to get it down to 3 days, which is pretty remarkable. But he's driving some pretty progressive change through that firm. Anyways, so a decision maker can go through here, and then a partner can, see the realization. We do calculate the realization here, and real partner, hey, you got to go find some more dollars to bill. Anyways, a couple things I'd call out. There is a link here where, I can, basically just click on this urban pause. And what that does is that brings me right to the billing screen and brings up that client. But an end user still has to kind of repeat those keystrokes and do the work. We are working on, between now and probably summer, we feel like AI is going to be able to ingest some of this as well. Where did my file go? Oh, there it is. The other thing we're putting in place is what we're calling billing automation 2.0. And there's going to be all sorts of aspects around it, because the way this, and again, I don't know anything about your firm, but the way we've seen most firms operate, billing is very laborious. It's pretty crazy what happens in this space. I get it. So one of the things we're going to put in place is either at a project level or by project type and client, you'll be able to set an amount, right? And you'll also be able to set a tolerance, 10, 15, 20%, whatever that is. And if all of that WIP is within that tolerance, we're just going to take down the WIP, write up the WIP, create the invoice, no one does anything, right? Just streamline that whole process and only serve up the WIP where it's out or where we're not doing this. So we can, basically provide less stuff for a decision maker to look at as well. All right. So at some point, we can do a much deeper dive around billing. We have the ability to auto email invoices and statements on some sort of regularity. We have partners, like I said, like iWin and QuickFee and like VersaPay that will ingest our invoices and do all sorts of kind of automation to bring down your days sales outstanding and different things. Basically, the experience, and they're all a little different. Either there's a link on an email, or when the client opens up the PDF, they can see a click to pay. So the client would hit a click to pay, and they can choose to pay credit card or ACH. If you do have credit card, you can charge like 1%, 2%, or 3%. And then when the client hits submit, basically what happens is the accept customer payment that is happening right now in CCH is automatically processed, right? So this step completely goes away. You basically watch the bank account grow. And the same thing works off of statements. We can send statements, and again, the client can pick which invoices and partially pay invoices. Not that we want them to partially pay invoices, but all right. I'm going to flip over to the CFO controller. So this is like, Dynamics GP today. By the way back when we used to be GP consultants, so we're familiar with some of that tech. I'm just going to hit the GL tab, and a couple things I'll call out. So we can support, again, we haven't done discovery yet, but I'm assuming you guys have some separate entities with your size and scale of who you are. So you can have like a payroll company, a CPA, a wealth. And by the way, I can just click here and all of my dashboards and everything's just changes for that entity. So it's a very powerful way to quickly do some reporting. Um, but I'm going to just put it back at the top and then I'm going to run an income statement. And we fully leverage like everything Oracle NetSuite from the financial GL package, right? So there's 43,000 businesses, some, publicly traded that are leveraging this financial package. So right from here, I can, maybe I want to run my financials by subsidiary. So I can see my subsidiaries across, or maybe I want to run it by, line of business. So I can see by line of business, or maybe I want to run it by, office, right? So these are all just different dimensions that you can quickly run your financials by, and then you can drill into any of that detail. Again, we support intercompanies, we support all sorts of functionality around the GL. Again, high level, any questions here? Okay. So then to kind of, let's see, I'm doing pretty good on time. I'm going to log back in as the partner, and I'll just talk about some of the analytics. I know you guys use Abdo Compass, which is, pretty phenomenal, all of the stuff they built to work with CCH and Thomson Reuters. A couple things that I will call out is I did mention we have a CRM. Are you guys leveraging CRM for marketing automation and like sales automation? Like, are you tracking prospects and opportunities and deals in HubSpot?
We are, but some of it's newer to us than not, but yes, that's where we're at.
Okay. So I won't spend a whole lot of time here. I will tell you, so NetSuite CRM or Practice, it's good. It is not HubSpot. And I will tell you, we are also a HubSpot shop as well. And I guess why that matters in this conversation is we have an integration that keeps the prospects, the clients, the contacts, the deals or opportunities all in sync as well. So the advantage of that is, maybe a partner manager can see deals and opportunities right in here without having to log into HubSpot. So we have some of that, and like YHB is another. They're leveraging HubSpot in our integration tool there as well. Okay, so clients, all sorts of analytics, from the clients down. So, and there's kind of a general flow. So, how many new clients this quarter versus the same quarter last fiscal year? Revenue associated to new clients. And then, we really start with our billable hours in production down to what's our average original rate to, what's our open WIP to receivables to the realization to the average rate after, right down to gross profit. Again, this is pretty unique to us. That we can run gross profit reports, and then to payments. So literally from the first billing down to payments, and you can drill into any of this stuff. I can click like production, for instance, and okay, what does that look like weekly? What does that look like monthly? How does that compare to the prior year? And again, so all of this is kind of real time. As I scroll down the dashboard, we can see the top 50 clients in AR balance. I can see how my receivables is trending, and maybe I want to compare that to last year. Here's time and production by work client, and maybe I just want to see mine as a partner, or I want to see all, or maybe I just want to see for a given office or department, right? So you can easily filter different things here. Who are my top 25 clients in sales? Here's open WIP. And what we try to do is we try to serve up the the biggest, oldest first. And I can filter on just my WIP or all WIP firm wide. Here's OpenAR again, and I could filter just on who I'm assigned to, or all clients. And then I like to pop this one open. So these are clients, and I'm filtering on just my clients. Again, I could pick an office, a department, but what you're seeing here is our billings, our realization by client, gross profit by client per hour, and then all of the standard average billing rate stuff. And again, this just as real time as people are billing and doing work. If I click over to the Team Plus, this is now it's everything. Instead of focusing on by a client, now I'm focusing by a team. And by the way we provide oversight around team is we provide 4 different options. We provide by department. So like I run assurance, I run CAS, I can see everything about that department. We also do by office, right? So I know you guys have a number of different offices. So if you have an office leader, that office leader can see everything about that office. We also have a supervisor, so that's a direct report, like I approve their time or their vacation. And then our 4th one is pods. So we see that used a lot in CAS departments where not really a manager, but there's like a pod leader where 4 or 5 people work together. So lots of ways you'll have all of this oversight by these different kind of oversight views. This missed budget, like, who on my team missed budget last week, last month, so on and so forth. But you can kind of the same concept. We start with billable hours. We can track non-billable utilization. This one we look at this month versus a year ago, the same month. Production utilization. And again, I can pop open utilization and do the same thing. I can look at it weekly. I can look at it monthly. I can look at it compared to prior year. Gross profit by team member, billable hours, how are they tracking? Here's time, production, and utilization by team member, and maybe I want to filter that for the assurance team. So how's that looking? And maybe I want to do this year. I don't have so again, it's really easy to filter dates and different things. And then this is that same report I just showed you, but now this is billings, WIP, realization, and gross profit by team member. So which team members have billed the most, have the best gross profit, so on and so forth. And the thing I would call out around gross profit, so what we have is you can set a burden rate on the employee record, and that rate can be whatever you define. Some firms have like their comp plus some benefits, some burden, some SG&A, whatever those things are, but you determine. And then that feeds right to the WIP record. It's on all reports. But it's only available to like the controller and the partner plus role, so not everybody can see that. So anyways, and then firm analytics. So Laura, this would definitely be your view. This is like oversight of the firm as a whole. So how many overdue projects for A and B clients, like are my A and B clients being taken care of? Where's our business coming from? That we even asked this at the very beginning. Like, where's our business coming from? And you can look at it in percentage of pie or dollars. You can do different date ranges. We got 2.8 million in open WIP. So I want to open that up, and which managers need to get some billings out, right? So we can see Sophia's, behind on the billings. We have 2.7 in open AR. So which partners? So Bill Jones has terrible AR. He's got to make some phone calls, go knock on some doors, where Liam's doing pretty good. And then if I scroll down here, this would be by, partner book of business, gross profit, billings, realization by partner book of business, for instance. The other thing I like to call out too is all of those kind of metrics, billable, non-billable, total utilization, number of employees. even production per client, like, and there's different metrics that like one of the things a lot of influencers, hey, get away from the billable hour, and what you should be seeing is your per client that you bill year over year should be growing, or even better, if you can tell by project type, are you billing more for your 1120s than you did last year? So anyways, we provide different analytics around that as well, not just some of the older traditional stuff. But what this allows you to do is, you can imagine me in 2 years down the road that you'll be able to see the current quarter, and you'll be able to see trends going back for 2 years about your firm. We do have leverage reports by partner, by manager. So those are some things that are unique to us. And then lots of reports, and they can all easily be customized, whether they're time and production reports, whether they're realization reports. This one I kind of like to open up. So what is billings and realization by industry? So let me look at last fiscal year. So again, which industries are we more profitable in and different stuff? Any questions around the analytics at all? One thing I will show, we do have, we do have kind of a Power BI offering. We kind of feel like with everything coming with AI, it's going to be less important. The Power BI, and if I get time, I'll try to bring it back up. I apologize, I didn't have it up, but it's as you can see, we've got some very deep analytics. What the Power BI does a little bit better job of showing trends against goals and those things. If I get a chance, I'll bring that up. One thing I did not talk about, is our capacity tool. So this isn't that same project screen, but this is an audit engagement. So you can see, we have a lot more tasks. Basically, the keys are the assigned to, the start, the due date, and the remaining hours. This is kind of what drives the demand side of our resource planner. And then I've mentioned a couple times about our weekly budgets, right? So by employee, you set basically billable goals, and that's the supply side of a team member. Once we have those, what we provide is we have this resource monitoring tool, and we can set custom kind of visuals. So this is just the assurance by job title, right? So here's my managers, partners, and staff accountants. And what you're seeing here is basically if they're appropriate or under, they're light to green, yellow is slightly over, and then once we get to orange or red, they're overbooked. So this is a quick view to see if somebody is under or overbooked for a given week. And we can look out 24 weeks. The other thing we can do is, I can just hit this down arrow and I can see, that one only has one. Let me bring up Hannah here. We can see all of the projects and tasks that make up that 53 hours. So the 53 is what they're booked, and then this 30 is what they were budgeted. So again, this is an area where we can do a deeper dive to show you more about it. We have kind of some tools where you can easily change dates, you can reassign projects and do different things. But this is kind of what we have today for resourcing. I guess the last thing I was going to talk about is just tell you what's coming with the NetSuite Next and the AI. Would you guys be interested in that? Okay.
Lisa, you and I've got an 1115. I think.
I thought it was 11:30, Laura. I'm sorry.
Yep, you're right. It is. Okay, we're good.
Okay.
Yeah, and I do appreciate your guys' time. I know you guys are super busy. Okay, so I'll keep this pretty short. So, like I said, Oracle NetSuite made this pretty major announcement last October. One of the things I already kind of talked about, like, is your data ready, right? In order for AI, AI is only going to be as good as the data that it's pulling from and using. And again, that's where an ERP can be super beneficial because it enforces rigor, right? That's what and sometimes that comes with a few extra clicks or different things, but it will enforce very good data. So this is going to be the new UI. Tasks here, some different graphs and stuff. But the key thing is this search and ask Oracle. And I think, and it's not a re-implementation. An end user can easily toggle between the old experience and the new experience with just a button, which is kind of nice. And then, so it's gonna have this kind of very high performance UI. There's a whole new mobile coming, and then this Ask Oracle. And basically, it'll find anything. It'll be able to dynamically create narratives like, oh, tell me my top clients with the best whip, but the most difficult projects, right? You're gonna have context across projects, billings, everything, that you'll be able to just ask it anything. And it'll be able to dynamically, create these dynamic charts and different things. And I can send you, this is like a 30-minute, just quick webinar that you guys can share, or, I guess grab some popcorn and a soda pop, and listen to me jabber on. But let's see, a couple more things. And there's all these new kind of graphs and tools that are going to be these widgets. The other thing that makes this super significant, especially for enterprise firms like yourself, Oracle NetSuite already is on what is called the Oracle Cloud Infrastructure, OCI. And why that matters, all of the big boys, right? ChatGPT and all the big boys, Cohere, they're leveraging the OCI platform for their offerings. So as things continue to evolve, by just being on Oracle NetSuite PracticeERP, you're going to be on an infrastructure that is leading edge. The other thing I would call out is there's this whole toolkit to go build agents, and I'll actually show you where we're starting to build agents as well. NetSuite will be building agents. Our team will be specifically building agents for this space. Your team can also build agents. So there's going to be this whole agent studio that you'll be able to leverage. Again, this all gets back to the platform piece. And so today, both ChatGPT Pro and Claude already do connect to NetSuite and PracticeERP. So let's see. I'll just show you a couple things that we're doing and have done. All right. Okay. So we have this kind of Ask AI button already within PracticeERP. This launches Claude. So what this is, it's called an MCP connector. And you could connect this to lots of things, right? You can connect it to Oracle NetSuite, HubSpot, you name it. So it's becoming a pretty common thing. So what I did this a while ago, but I just started asking questions, right? It's an AI tool. So please give me the billing address. So it went and did some work, and then it brought back the billing address. And I'm like, okay, find the open projects for Urban Pause. So I went and found all the open projects, and I apologize, my data is kind of dirty. And then I said, okay, find the ones that are past due. So it went and found the ones that are past due. At this point, I went in a completely different direction. I'm like, well, who are my top 10 clients with the highest AR? So I went and did that, found all the clients. It even returned the emails and phones. Like, well, you probably want to give them a call or reach out to them. I'm like, well, that's cool. So then I'm like, well, can you turn that into a graph, right? This is just standard AI stuff that's there today, and the Ask Oracle is going to be able to support this very same thing, which is supposedly coming in March, April. Then I went and asked some detail about a given client and give me all the open invoices for a client. And I'm like, you know what? I'd like to have this in a really nice PDF. So here's the PDF it created. It brought back the address. It went and, here's 43 open projects, 23 are past due. There's 7 from 2023. You better get those cleaned up, right? And this is just standard AI. Here's some critical ones. Here's the AR. Here is that client with the 10 invoices, and it aged them automatically, provided a risk level, right? It's just standard AI stuff without doing much at all. So this is an example of just querying. So then what I did is it's actually Jared and his team. I had them build a quick agent to allow me to enter time just in the chat box, right? So please enter time for urban pause using this service item for 1.25 hours. So it went and it basically successfully created that time entry. I'm like, well, that's cool. Can you actually build me a form that I can enter time in? So AI created a form, and then I hit enter, and it created the time, right? This is it's pretty unbelievable what can all be done even today. So then I took it a step further with the team and back to the my workspace and my projects. Anything in PracticeERP, you can export to Excel. So I can just click the Excel button. So what I did, I just had it export my time entries. Here's my projects. And I simply just typed in my hours for today's time entry into Excel. And then I went and uploaded that Excel spreadsheet. Please create time records for this Excel spreadsheet. And it successfully created those 7 entries right in PracticeERP. So this is where I like to start to think about your automating billing. Go create, I onboarded a new client and go create these 8 different project types. Like, I don't know, it's you're going to ask and it's going to do, right? It's going to respond, and it's going to come down to prompts and everything else that we're all dealing with in Copilot and so on and so forth. So